You're not being detained.
So am I free to go?
And by all means, if you do leave, it does mean that we would be able to use powers to arrest.
What do you want?
Can I take your details?
Am I obliged to?
Well, obviously with the current climate, and you're acting a bit strangely filming a police station.
No, I just told you what I'm doing. Photography's not a crime. I'm sat here. I'm waiting to get some pictures of a police car going in and out of the police station to finish off a story that I've been working on.
Yeah.
So I'm not obliged to give you my details because I haven't broken any laws.
Do you mind not putting that in my face?
Well, it's not in your face, and you came up to me, so.
Yeah. Because you're filming a police station.
Well, that's not against the law, though, is it?
No, but it's suspicious, strange behaviour.
It's quite suspicious.
No, I don't think it is. And terrorism or current climate has nothing to do with it. Terrorism in Waterlooville, I don't think so.
It can happen anywhere, and it would cause us concern that you're sat here constantly filming a police station.
Well, why are you saying constantly?
Because
I've been sat here for 20 minutes waiting for a car to come round the corner to go into the police station, which is what I wanted to capture.
Which we did.
Yeah.
So once that happened, I'd expect you to stop.
Yeah, you continued to film.
Because you got what you wanted.
Yeah.
And left. If that was
because you got out of the car and then you started walking over here.
The opening words set the tone immediately, and they are not questions but direct demands. There is no effort to understand the situation, no attempt to establish context, and no attempt to identify any real issue. Instead, the focus jumps straight to personal details, as if holding a camera alone is enough to trigger suspicion. Calling filming strange does not transform it into a crime, it reflects a personal opinion rather than any legal standard. When they try to justify their actions by pointing to the current global climate, the reasoning begins to fall apart. General references to tension around the world do not create lawful grounds in a specific moment. If recording a public building were truly linked to terrorism, then it would be illegal in every situation, and clearly, it is not. This highlights how quickly assumption replaces proper legal reasoning when actions are taken without a solid foundation.
You just turned yours on.
Mine's on already.
Alright, well that's fine. Well, that's fine. You're recording me and I'm recording you. But I'm not obliged to give you my details because I haven't broken any laws. Okay, and being suspicious is not a crime either.
You can appreciate though, given the current climate and terrorism being an issue, you are sat here.
There's no terrorism in Waterlooville. Yeah. Oh, and I understand why you come over to speak to me, but coming over and like, oh, we'll get your details, blah blah blah, is I'm not obliged to do that.
Obviously, I'm engaging in a conversation with you.
Yeah. And I told you what I was.
I'm PC Morris.
I told you what I was doing.
Waterlooville Police Station. All I asked was for your details. You could introduce yourself.
I explained to you what I was doing.
And I understand that. All I asked was for your details, for your name.
Yeah, no, you don't need my name.
No?
No, because
okay,
you stick it in your computer and it stays there forever.
It's not that it was honestly from me to engage in a conversation with you. Appreciate it for the conversation.
I've just spoken to my sergeant as well.
Yeah.
Under the Terrorism Act, with the climate as severe and the way you're acting, I will need your details.
The claimed friendly approach does not match the body language at all. The notebook is already open, the pen is ready, and the focus moves straight to personal details before any proper greeting takes place. That is not how a normal interaction begins. It is how someone starts documenting a subject. The explanation feels like it was created afterward to make the situation appear more reasonable on camera than the situation escalates further. Instead of grounding the encounter in clear facts, the second officer steps away to consult a sergeant and returns with the idea of applying terrorism powers. That jump speaks volumes. When officers on the ground cannot clearly explain their actions, escalation becomes the default option, and when a supervisor is willing to approve that kind of stretch, it highlights a deeper issue within the system and how such decisions are being supported.
Please provide me your
I'm not obliged to give you my details because I haven't broken the law.
Recording equipment if you are filming the police station under the current climate severe. Okay.
That's not. It's not. That's
anyone watching your videos.
You can't seize my equipment.
Anyone watching your videos that you are currently, say, you're live streaming.
Yeah.
Will probably agree that under terrorism at the moment, with the risk as it is.
Now this is live streaming because if you take my phone, it's not on my phone.
I'm explaining to you. Yeah, I'm explaining to you the reasons why I'm speaking to you, and all I am requesting for is your details. I'm not going to.
I'm not obliged to get. I've not broken no laws.
If you don't give us your details, it gives us grounds to arrest.
No, it's not. No, it's not. That's unlawful arrest. No, that is unlawful arrest.
Failure to give a name.
I've not broken no laws, so that would be an unlawful arrest.
Under the Terrorism Act, I'm requiring your name and address because of your behaviour.
The Terrorism
while filming
Act.
At this point, the reasoning turns completely upside down. Instead of first establishing a lawful basis, they suggest that refusing to provide personal details somehow creates an offense. That is not how arrest powers work. A refusal does not generate legal grounds out of thin air. Those grounds must exist independently. The claim that recording equipment can be seized simply because a name is not given shows a serious misunderstanding of seizure powers, which require clear statutory authority and genuine necessity, not frustration or irritation. And when the notebook appears again, it becomes clear what the real priority has been all along. The focus is not on investigating a specific crime, it is on completing a record and filling in a line on a page rather than following proper legal procedures.
I've actually got written permission to sit here and do this.
Right, well, why didn't you tell us that? Can you show us that, please?
Where's your written permission? It's
That's not a public place.
Police station. A police station's not a public place.
Well, it's still paid for by the public, isn't it?
It's not a public place though. Under the
Well,
definition of
where I
public
am
place.
where I am is a public place,
You're right there.
and I'm allowed to film anything I can see from a public place.
Within reason, but if your actions go beyond that and are suspicious...
Well, my actions aren't gone beyond that. I've told you exactly what I'm doing. It's to finish off the end of my social experiment blog that I was making.
Well, you're still filming now, so it's...
I'm filming now for my own protection.
Protection from what?
From you. You're standing there threatening to arrest me under terrorism.
No, I'm asking for your
We
name
asked for
and
your
details.
Which I'm not obliged to give you unless I've been arrested for a crime.
I don't feel like we've given you any cause for concern about our behaviour.
Well, he's threatening to arrest me under the
He's not
Terrorism
threatening
Act, which
to
you couldn't
arrest
even
you.
quote to me.
He's not threatening
I'm not going to quote every part of the law.
You're telling me,
I don't know
by me not giving you my
word for word.
details,
That's not my job.
you told me me not giving you my details is an arrestable offence, which it isn't.
It says a great deal that Pinocchi is the one presenting written legislation, while the officers rely on memory and assumption when he provides the exact wording that should have been the point where the conversation resets, because clear facts on paper remove guesswork. Instead, one officer tries to shift the situation entirely by claiming the station is not a public place. Funding of the building is not the key issue. The critical factor is location, and Pinocchi is standing on ground that the public can access freely. That distinction matters. If he is lawfully present in a publicly accessible space, attempts to blur that boundary do not hold. Then comes the comment that quoting the law is not his responsibility, and that statement reveals the whole dynamic. If officers are invoking statutory powers, understanding them and being able to clearly explain them is an essential part of the role and cannot be ignored.
Not permission for you to sit
Which
here
it
from the
isn't.
police station, which is what you've just disclosed to
I
us.
am perfectly entitled to sit here and film a police station from a public space. In fact, I can even give you the law on photography. There you go.
They says that you do not need a permit to film or
No,
photograph
I don't.
in a public place. It doesn't say anything about filming or taking photographs from a place that isn't public. Photography on private land is not restricted if the landowner has given permission.
I'm on public land.
Yeah, but what
But I
about
can still
the fact that you're
I
filming
can-
the police station, which is not
From your house.
That's not a house though, is it?
No, but it's not a public place.
Yeah, but if someone wants to stand outside my house in the public and film it, they're allowed to do that by law.
No,
There is no law
there'll
that's...
be-
No, there's no
there'll be
law.
laws against
No, there's not.
Right.
No, there's not.
After there's permission from one of the bosses in
I don't need permission to film the police station from a public
No, as I
space.
said, my suspicions are about your behaviour. It's all very strange.
What's suspicious about my behaviour?
You're
Do you
not
think
talking
I'm a
to me normally.
terrorist?
You're not talking to me
Have I got
normally.
any bombs in my
You're
bag?
quite defensive about the fact that
Yes, because you've come over here to stop
there's preparation.
me.
We asked you if you
You're
could
trying to
engage
stop
in
me from
conversation.
filming.
Her response completely misses the point. The fact that there is no sentence explicitly permitting filming does not create a ban. That is not how the law works in public spaces. People are generally free to record anything they can lawfully see unless a specific restriction applies. There is no general rule that forbids pointing a camera at a building just because someone inside objects. When that argument falls apart, the focus shifts to his behavior, as if asserting rights or asking for clarification somehow turns lawful activity into suspicion. Standing firm is not a crime. Asking questions is not obstruction. Labeling calm composure as defensiveness is simply another attempt to turn discomfort into a weak justification.
I
And
asked you what
finishing
your
my
name was
blog.
and you wouldn't even provide me your name.
Well, that's because I
All
don't
this-
need to.
All this amount.
Because I'm not obliged to give you my name, that's
You're not
why.
obliged.
Well,
However,
exactly.
when I approached you to engage in a conversation, and you were quite defensive.
I actually didn't
And
want a
to ask
conversation.
questions.
If you had just gone into the police station, I would have left because I got the footage that I wanted.
Yeah, but you can understand that obviously, given the fact that you're sat here filming a police station, it's quite concerning for us.
Why?
For officer safety.
What am I going to do?
You're
What
about to
officer safety?
publish a video showing the registration plate of police cars in a police station.
They're in public all day, every single day. Police cars. There's no privacy in public. That's why there's CCTV cameras, millions of them all around the country. So I don't think your colleague really should stand there and threaten to take away my camera equipment.
He didn't threaten to take
Yes, he
away
did.
your camera equipment.
Yes, he did. It's on camera. Is this a threat?
When one officer finally admits he is acting within his rights that should have marked the clear end of the interaction, instead the reasoning shifts again, now invoking officer safety, and claiming that recording vehicle plates is somehow a risk. That argument does not hold up. Police vehicles travel on public roads where their registration numbers are visible to anyone driving behind them, parked nearby, or simply walking past. A registration plate is not confidential information, it is a public identifier meant to be seen by everyone. You cannot retroactively turn something openly displayed every day into sensitive data just because a camera captures it. This shows another attempt to justify continued action when the lawful basis has already disappeared.
You're trying to scare me into, I don't want my phone to be taken. So in order for me to give up my details that I'm not obliged to give you.
If you believe that we wouldn't be able to seize your phone, why would you be recording live to a cloud so that when your films are, when your phone is taken?
Oh, when my phone's taken?
Well, that's what you said.
Is that what you're saying?
No,
when my phone's... That's why I'm recording to the cloud and not onto my phone.
You said that you record so that if somebody takes your phone,
yep,
that the videos aren't there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I've still got my evidence, because I can't get your evidence off of your camera. If this goes to court for me to get all my camera equipment back.
Why would you assume this is going to go to court?
Because if you're going to take my camera equipment, then it's going to go to court, isn't it?
Why would you assume we were going to take?
Because you would have unlawfully arrested me and unlawfully taken my camera equipment. You're trying to scare me into giving you my details that I'm not obliged to give you. I'm not obliged to give you my details. Well, I don't need to account. I'm sat here doing something perfectly lawful from a public space.
Calling it a stop and account after the fact does not fix anything. That approach is meant for brief voluntary interactions where an officer records what someone chooses to say. It is not a shortcut to demand personal details, and it does not carry compulsory powers. If there was nothing specific for him to explain from the start, then labeling it that way does not suddenly create a lawful basis. The reaction to the mention of court reveals even more when it is pointed out that arrest and seizure must withstand judicial scrutiny that should be expected. Not surprising that is the standard for using such powers. The fact that it catches her off guard suggests the consequences were never fully considered. Once detention or confiscation is brought into play, the situation moves into territory that must be legally defensible beyond the pavement.
Terrorism Act and threat and trying to intimidate me.
Giving their details is a necessity that we can use for an arrest.
By making me think he's going to take away my camera equipment.
He didn't say that it was a threat that he was going to arrest you at all.
Okay. Am I being detained?
Sorry?
Am I being detained?
No, it's merely a stop and count. I mean, if you do leave, obviously we do have powers.
Are you going to use those powers if I leave then? Because you just said I'm not being detained, so I'm free to go.
You're not being detained.
So am I free to go?
And by all means, if you do leave, it does mean that we would be able to use powers to arrest you on the grounds of suspicion of an offence.
What offence?
My colleague is speaking to my sergeant at the moment.
So, am I free to go?
That's obviously your decision.
And I'm not being detained?
That's obviously your decision.
And I'm free to leave? Am I free to leave? What's that mean?
As I've just explained to you, it was a stop and account.
Have I broken any laws?
At the moment, you are filming a police station.
That's not breaking the law.
Which is why me and my colleague came over to speak to you.
That's not breaking the law, though, is it?
As I explained to you, my colleague has basically gone to speak to my sergeant to discuss.
Right. Are you detaining me here?
I'm not detaining you.
Right. So am I free to leave?
I would suggest you didn't leave.
Am I free to leave?
I would suggest you didn't leave.
Why?
I would suggest that you didn't leave.
Why?
I have answered your question. What you do next is up to you.
Well, I know what next is up to me, but you just said I'm not being detained, so therefore I'm free to leave because I've broken no laws.
The next move is yours. I've asked you to wait.
Okay, I don't want to wait. I'm going to leave and I'm going to go home. Okay?
The clearest moment in this entire exchange comes when Pine Key asks a simple question, am I detained? The answer given is no, and that answer carries real weight. If a person is not detained, they are free to leave. It is as straightforward as that, yet the moment he chooses to act on that freedom, the language shifts. Suddenly there is talk of having the power to stop him, and even threats of arrest based on vague and unnamed suspicion. That contradiction reveals more than anything said earlier. Legal powers do not switch on and off just because someone starts to walk away. There is also a broader concern in how seriously terms are being used. Arrest is mentioned without a defined offense. Seizure of equipment is raised without a clear statutory basis. Terrorism legislation is suggested as a fallback. When such significant powers are referenced so casually, it undermines their legitimacy.